I'm just gonna say this real quick. Sorry I sound so nasally. I kind of just sound like that. That's my bad. And I sound really like tired at the beginning. That's just because like I just started recording after watching it. It's kind of late at night, and I just started like recording after finishing it, and I just kind of put this together. I get a little more energetic towards the end, but like, sorry. So it's time for the first episode, if you'd call it that, of the 100 Days, 100 Movies. And for day one, I watched Flow. I've been kind of putting this one off for a bit, kind of waiting for this specifically, because I wanted to kind of kickstart it with a movie that was critically acclaimed and I thought was very interesting. If you were unaware, Flow has entirely no dialogue whatsoever, and it is entirely expressed through visual storytelling and expressions, like facial expressions by the variety of creatures within the film. So like a little bit of backstory on Flow. It took them 5.5 years to make, and apparently it was mainly created by this guy named Zibalodis. I'm not gonna try, just look at it, it's on screen. And he used Blender to make it. I knew that going into it. I saw the whole Oscar thing where he won the Oscars using Blender, which I find incredible. I touched Blender for like 5 minutes, had no idea what was happening, and then gave up. It just overall, I don't really know the full details, but it is a very, very small team, like an excessively small team. And I was really confused because like I knew that it was a small team going into it, but if you watch it on, I watched it on Max, and if you watch it, there's like a solid 4 minutes of intro credits, like intro like companies and stuff attached to it. But in an interview, he said only about 40 people worked on it, which is kind of crazy for a movie this caliber. And he also did all the sound design and music. It's like he apparently he recorded his actual cat, I think. There's just a lot of interesting backstory to this. There was another movie he made, like a short film, I think, called Aqua. Yeah, it's a short film called Aqua, and that was the basis for this. And it was kind of the same concept of this cat that's overcoming its fears. Also, I don't think I talked about it later in the video, but the cat's character trait is that it's very skittish, and it kind of learns to overcome that and be more brave. I mean, the production team is very small, and I think that's very, very impressive, because especially with how like high quality it feels, and the fact that it's made on Blender just kind of blows me away. There were no storyboards used, and then there were no deleted scenes. That is crazy. Yeah, so overall, very impressive movie. Back to the review. It's mainly from the perspective of the cat, who finds his world completely upheaved by a flood, and he must rely on the compassion of others to survive. It has heavy themes with change and like unstoppable nature. I mean, you get that feeling in the beginning when like the flood just comes in, the cat's just kind of like tossed around in the water, and you watch the water slowly creep up. You definitely get that sense of dread, and like the sense that this is something that cannot be stopped. The cat is completely at the whim of nature. I mean, if that were to happen, there's nothing you could do either. So this poor cat that probably doesn't even understand what's happening is having its entire world destroyed, and it has no idea why. On its journey, it meets a different capybara, a greedy lemur, a happy dog, and this stoic bird creature. I don't really know what the bird is, but it's a type of bird apparently. I'm not gonna really do too much research on what it is, but it's a pretty cool looking bird. Each character has a lot of personality, and without dialogue, they're able to express so much, and you kind of get those like individual characteristics of each one nailed down. And as it progresses, each one kind of goes past its faults. Like the lemur, there's a final scene where it's like with all of its lemur friends who are dripped out, and it like gives up its mirror that's been holding on to the entire film so that it could follow the cat to go save the capybara who's stuck in a boat. Oh, there's also like a thematic element of like family, kind of. I mean, that sounds pretty cliche, but it's like I think it's done pretty in good taste. Like each one of the animals, except for the cat, kind of has a group that it belongs to, but it kind of leaves its group to kind of follow the outcasts, if you will. Also, I guess the capybara doesn't have a family that it kind of belongs to, but like in particular, the lemur, the dog, and the bird have like a group, like their species all kind of is with them, and they abandon their species or are abandoned and join the capybara and the cat on their adventure through this and kind of form that family. So there's definitely that thematic element of, regardless of your like background, being able to join together with others to survive and to form a new bonds, which I found I think it was done pretty well, and it's just overall a pretty thematic part. That's kind of like the brief synopsis. Again, I recommend watching it. The major thematic elements are definitely that whole change thing. I found it very, it's not super deep into themes. It's just kind of a fun, lighthearted cinematic experience following this cat and its world. You could find some depth from it, but overall it's kind of just meant to enjoy. And I think it knocks it out of the park with that. It overall is just such a fun movie to watch. The animation is really good. It's not like a super like detailed thing, and of course you don't really need that. It's like supposed to be more cartoonish. To draw a connection, it's like kind of like how Valheim is, with its very simple textures, but doesn't really take away from it. That simplistic nature kind of adds to it. It's a very bare bones movie, but it's able to convey so much, which is what makes it so impressive. And I love the capybara character, because you'll see he's just completely indifferent to what's happening. Like, a character will do something and he'll kind of just react in the most bland, like uninterested way possible, which I found great. My dislikes, at times it was a little bit slow, like that's like barely a dislike. Like, this was a very, very, very good film. Sometimes I feel like it could have been a little bit faster, if that's, but the slow pacing at certain scenes was meant to add tension, but sometimes I feel like they lingered somewhere a little longer than they absolutely needed to. And also, I didn't get what happened at the end with the bird, how it kind of just ascended. I was hoping that whole, like, plot line was going to go somewhere with, like, the bird and its people. I thought that was going to be, like, the antagonistical forces when they get back to, like, the tower, like, the fingers, like, the stone pillars that they were going to have to, like, face off against the birds that flew there. But nope, it kind of just went to the top of one of them and just ascended. Like, it was a really bizarre scene. I don't really understand it. I don't really understand how it fits into anything. But I guess that would be my only dislike. I thought that scene was a little bizarre, but besides that, it's a very good film. To pinpoint my absolute favorite scene, I would have to say there's this one where it's when the whole cast is finally there. The bird's on the board, the dog is there, the capybara, the lemur, and the cat are all on board, and the bird immediately assumes his position to be like this stoic, like, creature that kind of, it's trying to like maintain the thing. The cat's trying to like win his favors, like, this is the cool guy, I wanna make this guy like me. But then the dog is just like happy. Like, the dog doesn't really know what's going on. It's just trying to like goof around, I guess, and it keeps trying to bring the orb over to the bird, and it's just not having it. It throws it once for him, and then it brings it back. He expects, oh, maybe the bird will warm up to the dog and they'll like play or something. Nope, it just knocks it into the water. And a little plot point is the lemur loved this ball. The lemur just collects things. It's very greedy, so it keeps collecting like various items from around. And so when it knocks the ball into the water, the lemur gets really mad and just actually is a full-on crash out. Like, he's trying to go back to get it, but the bird's not having it, so he just jumps onto the bird's head and just starts like grabbing him. He doesn't even like bite or like rip it. He just starts grabbing and like flailing around with the bird, which leads to them crashing into a tree. And then there's the moment where the bird's just like pissed off. It's just overall very, like, it kind of came out of nowhere. It was kind of just a very bizarre scene, and the lemur's crash that was very entertaining to watch. And overall, it was each character's character traits were just on full blast. And you, like, when the bird knocked the orb into the water, you're like, oh, the lemur's gonna get pissed now. And then the lemur got pissed now and crashed out, and I thought that was really funny. Yeah, that's Flow. A very, very good film. Highly recommend it. Pretty simple in the kickstart everything with. There's not super much to unpack here. It's just a fun, like, movie. It's not really something you can put into words, something you have to witness. It's able to keep you entertained all the way through, even without dialogue, which again is his estimate to how good the visual, like, storytelling is. So overall, my rating for this will be a 9. The only thing keeping it from being a 10 is, I guess, just the storyline overall wasn't super interesting. If they were kind of, I mean, it's impossible to convey a complex or like super crazy storyline without any dialogue, but there was that sense that they were going to these stone towers because they all kind of kept looking at it, so you knew that's where it was leading off to. But when they get there, it kind of just, everything sinks into the ground, and then everything's restored when the bird ascends. I don't know if that was some sort of sacrifice. Again, I don't really fully understand that part, but yep, a 9. Only thing keeping it from perfection, I guess, is that kind of lack of complete, like, conclusion that they were trying to reach. Like, things kind of just progressed along, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Again, that lends to the lighthearted and more fun-loving movie that you're witnessing. It's not a very complex or a very super deep film. It's kind of just, you watch it, you watch the cat, and you love it, and the capybara's there because that's the best character. Yeah, so that's Flow.